experts.
Yes!
All right, here's how this game works. We are the world's greatest experts on any topic. You get to pick the topic. Whatever topic it is, we're going to talk all about it. Yeah, I know. What a segue, bitch. I can't plan for it because it's an improv comedy show. So, we're the world's greatest experts. You as an audience can ask us questions about this topic. We'll talk for a couple of different topics. We'll exhaust all of our knowledge on one and then go to the next. So, to start with, what are we the world's greatest experts on? Can I hear from the audience?
That's the alphabet!
Well, we know it's not the
Let's
alphabet.
not do the alphabet, please. I'm gonna have traumatic nightmares from this night. I'm gonna...
Agreed.
I'm here to give you trauma. Great, thanks, Dad. All right, anyway, welcome to it's Sunday night. So, world's greatest experts on zebras. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are the world's greatest experts on zebras. We will be extrapolating and exonerating and talking all kinds of EX words about the zebras. So, my expert Lola, do you have any information you think is most important to share about the zebra first?
Yes, I believe the most important thing about the zebra is that its etymology comes from a very linear line of Roman language of a historic sense. So it's actually, in the Americas, it's spelled Z-E-B-R-A, but actually it's pronounced, or spelled Z-E-U-B-R-A-H-I-K, but the K is silent.
Yes, much like in green bean.
Yes, exactly. But I think we're here to talk about zebra.
You are correct. You are correct. Now, what's interesting, the main characteristics of the zebra is that the zebra is black and white. Now, of course, it depends on the lineage of the individual zebras that black or white is either the dominant color. This was first explored by Alfred Hitchcock in the 1967 movie The Birds, in which there was a zebra in the middle of the square as the birds were attacking everybody. And that's when we discovered that when the zebra had its flesh flayed off by the birds, it was revealed that the flesh is actually a bright purple.
Yes, I remember that scene vividly from Alfred Hitchcock's movie The Birds, which featured the zebra.
From 1967.
From 1967, yes, excuse me. But I think one thing to note too is that famous Italian explorer Galileo Galilei noted that long ago there were zebras that actually spanned colors from like red and blue and green and yellow. Not to be confused with yellow. Green and yellow.
Yeah, of course.
It's the color of mellow yellow. Because I'm doing it with mellow yellow.
So what just happened?
I think we're all a little confused. Do you have any questions about the zebra?
Where are the origins from?
The origins of the word were from ancient Roman. The lineage was passed down from child to child through storybooks and stone carvings. The actual origin of the animal was a whirlpool in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
There was a hot summer as the ice age was descending, and the climate change caused the whirlpool to spin in the opposite direction, which, funny enough, Magellan was just sailing across, and he dropped some paint in the water and a horse he was carrying to the New World, and that horse and the paint bucket spun around. And shot that bitch back up. Anyway, he landed in North America, as we know where the zebra live today. I hope that answered your question.
Yes. Do we have any other questions about the zebra?
Are they black with white stripes or white with black stripes?
Neither. That's just the way they fucking are.
Yeah, we're gonna ask these fucking questions. Gosh, this is a public forum, not a fucking...
Actually, if you don't mind me stepping in,
Yes, absolutely.
Professor Evermoore.
Step wherever you want.
It would appear that basic zoologists would determine that zebra are black with white stripes, but in reality, the black and white are just an optical illusion. They're actually quite a multicolor of piss brown. Yes.
The whole way through.
The whole way through. Like, you know, when you drink way too much juice and you get diarrhea.
But the whole animal.
The whole animal is just this liquid shit brown color.
Okay.
Which says a lot about its eating habits.
Yes.
You see, the zebra only eats grass, and that grass goes directly through its digestive system. It doesn't actually get any nutritional value. It just eats grass in the hopes that maybe there's like a bug in there, and then it gets the protein from the bug. So the grass is just immediately digested, processed, and then shot out of its rear end. Unfortunately, the zebra has a helicopter-like tail, which you can see where that leads to a disaster in a herd.
It has been noted that the zebra are able to fly with their helicopter tail too, creating a literal shit storm.
Oh my god.
That's their migrational pattern.
Yes.
Every winter they go from north to south to avoid the incoming ice age. So you can see many herds of zebra flying across the savannah, just pinwheeling shit.
This is actually historians have proven that this is where we get the term Arabian Nights. So, because when they're migrating, it just creates like an endless night of just shit.
Yeah, in the Bible, the swarm of locusts that God was going to send down on the villagers, that was actually a misread of the original Latin text. They interpreted swarm of locusts, funny enough, from the word zebra, which was spelled with many Thor sounds. Common mistake. Do you have any more questions about these animals? Unfortunately, she has not released her image to public domain, so that we can't talk about her in a public setting. However, she is a legend, an icon, and a star, and we hope she rests in peace.
Unfortunately, yes. They found her body just outside of the savannah after the regular migratory patterns. Just outside of the savannah.
Covered in shit.
She just covered in shit.
Let's call it there.
The zebras.
Okay, that was enough about that shit. Anyway. We will be the world's greatest expert on another topic for you. Do we have any topics from the audience that you really are burning desire to hear more about?
Lola's shoes?
Oh, yes, that's a great story.
No, I don't even know. Where to
Okay, it's okay. That's a story for another time, honestly.
Yeah.
Prosthetic legs.
Prosthetic legs.
I don't.
I don't know that I feel very attached to that subject.
Glitter. I lean the other way.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get a little racy tonight. All right,
Yeah, let's
do
go into it. Just as a warning to anybody who may be disabled in the audience.
We mean no
That's
ill
it.
will.
So prosthetic legs. Now these come in many different colors, sizes, shapes, and options.
Yes.
The prosthetic leg is used in different patients in different ways. The primary use is marathon running. You can see many those with prosthetic legs with a scoop-like leg. There's new people. This is not gonna be good. Scoop-like leg. Hello.
Hi.
We're talking about marathon runners and prosthetic legs. Thank you for joining us.
I don't have either.
I did. I was like, okay, we're good. Could you imagine they both walk in on like stilt legs, just...
Oh my god.
And that's when Evelyn changes the subject from prosthetic legs to
Back to the
prosthetic
zebras!
Shitstorm.
Prosthetic legs,
Yes,
originally
yes.
developed in the sub-Saharan Africa in the late 16th century, where everything happened. The prosthetic legs were used actually on top of actual legs that the indigenous peoples were using. They would put these legs on, and they were made of bamboo that bent, so it had a lot of extra spring and gave them an extra step so they could escape the oncoming shitstorms of the zebras every migrational season. That technology has then progressed into modern days, in which you can see many different variations of the, as they called it, the shit leg.
Oh my god.
Yes, in fact, there are various different types of prosthetic legs now, and they would actually go so far in about, I want to say like early 2000s maybe, to come up with prosthetic legs that mimic the helicopter tail whirring of the zebra. So now you see a whole bunch of marathon runners actually just flying down the street, like one of those river boats on the bayou.
Oh my god.
Like a hovercraft,
Yes.
full of eels.
Well, it's actually full of shit. So typically they have a catheter set up.
Oh, that's so convenient. And then I've read about this actually. You are correct. The gases that build up in the colostomy bag attached to the bag can then be routed down into a combustion engine, which propels the motors.
I hate you.
Really, we live in an amazing technology shit-fueled world.
It's really actually quite interesting to see. Yes, exactly. You're getting it.
He gets it. He gets it. We're doing the Lord's work.
We really are.
The other kinds of prosthetic legs you can find in the wild include sword leg, in which
Ooh, yes, this is my favorite.
it's my favorite.
my favorite.
Medieval knights, when they would lose their legs, instead of like the Japanese technique of creating a golden leg just to sit on your porch and watch the sunset go down, medieval warriors would actually have swords attached to their legs in which they could sword fight different.
On guard!
It was, well, I'm sorry, I got bad ankles. I can't do this tonight. But it was the techniques were incredible and such a diverse and unique fighting style.
Yes. Well, I have to say one of my favorite variations of the prosthetic leg that actually originated this time out of India was they took inspiration from an octopus leg. So now, it's mostly in India. You don't really see this in the Western hemisphere of the world. But most of the time when you go to India, you'll just see a whole bunch of people that are about like this tall and going as they walk down the street.
Oh my god.
It's actually a really great way to get around. I've heard. I personally would not want to try it, just because of the off chance your suction cup bits might get stuck to something a little unsavory, such as the zebra migratory patterns.
Right. We do not want to get stuck in those, you know.
Yeah.
Talk about a shit story. Does anybody have any questions about prosthetic legs and their accessories? Yes, we have a question back here.
What about the machine gun leg?
The machine gun leg. According to military classification CS.122.8, we're not allowed to talk about that in a public forum. However, I can let you know it's hella sweet.
It compares nothing to the machine gun prosthetic arm, so to speak, but to see it in action is really quite a religious experience, honestly.
It truly is. The notable action hero Haas Delgado was really the premier the premier machine gun arm enthusiast. His was ectoplasm. He had a crossbow in it. Really, just a legend of modern cinema. Yes, we have a question over here.
What are we using in World War III?
Oh, the prosthetic legs we'll be using in World War III. The prosthetic attachments we will have in World War III are actually all Twitter compatible, so that you can tweet from any prosthetic leg attachment, whether it be the machine gun prosthetic or the toilet accessory that our current president is using.
Oh my god, yes.
Will it or will it not be available on Grindr?
I don't believe that we will be legally able to sell it on Grindr, unfortunately, but you may have a better chance on Christian only. So.
What about farmers?
Or Christian mingle farmers only. Yeah.
Christians only mingle with farmers.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah, the new app from Blowfish. Yes, we have a question here.
Do they make prosthetics for the zebra?
Unfortunately, no. When they lose a leg, fuck it. There's so many of them, there's just no point in healing them. Right now we have an overpopulation of the zebra. So the more that can break legs and then not be able to migrate, the better.
Yes, in fact, the zebra is one of the furthest from the endangered species list. In fact, it is constantly open season out there, which was a marvelous animated movie by that one studio that I can't think of.
Open
Yeah.
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 We'll take one more question about prosthetic attachments at this time. Yes, thank you.
Can I or can I not have one right now?
We got a knife in the back. You ready to go?
I'm done.
We are both qualified surgeons, so attaching the leg, we have no form of anesthetic, but we could just jam it up in there and hope to see what works. So.
Mhm.
Tell me when and where.
Right now, let me clear this table off.
I'll go get the gloves. You get the knife.
We love that. Anybody get the time? I just want to keep time checked.
8:34.
8:34. I love that story. All right, we're gonna take